Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. How's it going, guys? Thank you for joining me for day number 5, but challenge number 4. It's nice to see so many familiar faces in the chat. Filippa, hi. Hi, Carla. Hi, Lucia. Yeah, everyone is here. Beatrice, Sam, Valda here. Thank you so much, guys, for joining the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge with me. For those of you who have not joined in the previous days, I'm Claudia. I'm going to be your host until September 27. And I hope you guys are having fun with the previous challenges that we've done in those days. If you've not had the chance to follow us during the lives, you can also replay them. So let's go and see where you can find the previous file. We want to if you want to join the challenges, you can go on behance.net/challenge/Photoshop, and you'll end up on this landing page. So in order to join the challenge, if you've not done it yet, you can click on this big blue button and join the challenge with us. And if you want to watch the previous stream and the previous challenges, you can simply click on watch video, and the file that we use during the challenges are still here, ready for you to download. Today is challenge number 4. We're gonna create a surreal postcard. I'm creating quite fun and bold graphic using Photoshop because I really want to push these portfolio pieces while learning new techniques and sharpening our Photoshop skills. Now, before we start with today's project, maybe you want to go ahead and click on Get Started to download the starter file from the Dropbox link that you find in the main link. If you do not have Photoshop and you wish to join us, all you have to do is scroll down and get Adobe Photoshop by clicking on Download Photoshop here. But also, if you want to keep chatting with mentors or share feedback or ask questions, the best place to be is our community chat. You can join it by clicking on this link here, community chat. From the landing page is step number 2. And once you click on community chat, you will be redirected to Discord. As you see, guys, here, I have downloaded the app on my laptop. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you how Discord looks like for those of you that have not used it before. By the way, for yesterday's challenge, you guys made my day. I had a blast looking at your selfies. As promised, I shared mine. We're going to see it in a second. But you guys have done a great job. It's been so nice to see your takes on the challenge, and thank you so much for sharing your work. So yeah, Discord is a chat client. You can use it to share your work, get feedback, give advice. At the moment, we have about 900 people here. There are people, creatives, designer, photographer, students from all over the world. So it's a great place to be. It's a great place to ask questions. Don't be shy. As I say all the time, this is a safe zone. We're all learning. I learn, we all make mistakes. It's good to hear feedback. It's good to read other people's feedback. So this is a great place to hang out. You can also download it on your phone, and it's a very, very cool app. You have different chat here. You have different channels where you can post your work in the current challenge one, or get inspired by past challenges, or just simply chat and introduce yourself to the other people of the chat. So let's get started in Photoshop. And oops, I opened my maps. I am in San Francisco, California today, streaming live from the Adobe studio. And here we go. I have Photoshop. As promised yesterday, I was gonna create my own selfie, artistic selfie. I have shared the selfie on Discord as well, but here we go. I wanted to show you my take on it. I've decided to use a photo with glasses because someone was, I think, Cara, if I remember well, was asking how to deal with glasses reflection because they were interfering a little bit with the details of the flowers. So I decided to take a selfie with sunglasses and show you guys how can you have a play with the items like glasses as well. Hi Mark, hi Munir, hi Lee, hi Anna. It's so nice to see you here, guys. Happy Friday. What are you guys doing this weekend? Do you have any plans? Let me know. I probably just gonna relax today, probably have a look around some museum here and make the most out of my time in San Francisco. But let's get started with today's challenge. So again, today's challenge number 4, and we're gonna create a surreal postcard. So I have provided a photo from, again, the link that I showed you before. You can download it from behance.net/challenge/Photoshop. Scroll down, challenge number 4. Get started to download the link if you've not done it already. And I have it already here, but if you do want to use your own picture, so that's the photo that you guys should have as well. If you guys want to use your holiday picture, feel free to do so. I advise to follow along because, again, we're gonna give a little bit of a different perspective to this photo. But again, if you want to just ever go with your image, feel free to use your own. So let's get started. In order to start to play with this image, the first thing that I'm going to do is to create and convert it into a smart object. And I'm going to do so by pressing Control, clicking on the link, and click on Convert to Smart Object. Now I want to duplicate the layer, but I want to make sure that the content of the smart object is unlinked. So if I'm gonna modify one of the images, is not gonna change in both items. So in order to duplicate, but at the same time make sure that the content is not connected, I have to duplicate via copy. So make sure that you click Control or right click on your layer, and I'm gonna use the new smart object via copy. This will allow us to have 2 different smart objects with the same looking content, but they're actually unlinked. And I'm gonna start to name my file, my layer, so I don't get confused. I'm gonna call the top mirror, and I'm gonna name the bottom layer image. You can rename by simply double click on your layer, and I'm gonna hit return to accept the changes. Now I'm gonna click on my top image, the one that I named mirror, and click on Command T to transform. Then I'm gonna go ahead and press Control and click on my image. And the first thing that I'm gonna do is flip horizontal. Then I'm gonna press Control and click again and rotate 90-degree clockwise. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit so you guys can see the entire canvas, and I'm gonna drag the edges of the image and match them with the canvas like so. Make sure that you follow this step correctly because this is absolutely important in order to get our result. I'm gonna press return in order to accept my changes, and I'm gonna hide the bottom layer called image by clicking on this little eye here next to the layer. There we go. Now I'm gonna click on my lasso tool from the toolbar on the left. Polygonal lasso is probably the best option, is the second one on the lasso tool option, and I'm gonna go ahead and click on the bottom left. I probably have to jump on the other side of the screen so you guys can see this a little bit better. Let's see. There we go. Perfect. Thank you, Paco. So we're gonna click here at the bottom left and then drag to the top of the image, and then the selection outside can be quite rough, so we can just go ahead and make a few clicks and make sure that now we have a diagonal line just like so. What I'm gonna do is create a mask. We can quickly do so by pressing the button, the layer mask here at the bottom of my layers in the layer panel, and we're gonna add a layer mask. Now we want to invert this layer mask, but before doing so, let's open the image layer underneath, and you already see that we have a first reflection over here. Van Damme, yes, smart objects are very smart. Make sure though that you duplicate this one via copy because we're gonna edit only one of the 2. But let's keep going, guys, because we don't have much time and I really want to show you some cool techniques here with Photoshop. So once you create your mask, next thing that I want to do is to invert the mask. You can do so by pressing Command E, making sure that the focus is on your mask, or you can also go on your property panel up here and then click on invert. So this is the first step. Hi Sam, hi Mandy, hi Kirsty, Carlos, thank you so much for joining. I really want to know what you guys are doing this weekend. I need to have some inspiration. Once you're done with inverting the mask, I'm gonna unlink. You unlink the mask, meaning you can transform the mask without affecting the image. So I'm just gonna zoom in and show you guys. This is you have to click on this little chain here in order to unlink. When it disappears, it means that the mask is not still linked to the image. And I'm gonna select my mask. Press V on your keyboard to select the move tool, and hold Shift in order to move the mask. Now, the reason why I want to keep Shift hold is in order to constrain proportion and constrain the position also vertically. So when I'm going to move it, the mask is not going to move around. I'm just simply sliding it to the right. So hold Shift and move it to the right. I want to crop it somewhere around here. I think that could be a good crop. And now let's go and have a look at the map, at the mask itself. So making sure that your focus here, your outline is on the mask. I'm gonna press Option, click on the mask, and we just have a look at the mask. I really want this area on the left on my corner to be hidden. So we're gonna conceal it with black. You simply can click on the marquee tool here on your toolbar, click and drag to select all the white pixels which are showing at the left of my point, and I'm gonna hit Command and Delete just because my black here is on the background, and I'm gonna conceal by filling it with black. Now let's press Command D to deselect, and I can see a little bit of white here, so all I have to do is just create another selection, maybe press a little bit further up, and again filling it with black in order to make sure that everything here is gonna be hidden in our image. So let's go and click Option and the mask again to reveal the image. And here we go, we have our mask clean again. So now I'm gonna select the image on the top layer and press Command T to transform. I'm gonna move the image around to make sure that again, it mirrors what is on the left side. So I'm gonna zoom in order to make the selection as detailed as possible. We really wanna get the corner rights. So there we go. I'm gonna, today guys, I don't have enough time as usual to finalize. I'm gonna show you my final results so you can get inspired, but I'm really trying to do my best here to make sure that we simply drag and move the image around so it matches. In this case, you do not have to hold Shift because you have to like jiggle around and move top and bottom, left and right to really make sure that we have a decent enough selection. Let's see. Probably I'm gonna have to drag it a little bit down. Probably is helpful as well if we zoom it out as well so we have a general idea. I think that looks good enough for, again, you can go back and finalize and refine these details, but for now I'm gonna press return, and here we go. We have our reflection and our perspective is shifting. It looks cool already, says Aja. Yes, it does looks cool, but we're gonna make it even more awesome. So we just got about like 10 minutes, so let's crunch it up and make sure that we get everything done for today. So let's double click on the top smart object in order to modify the content. And because we created a duplicate via copy, this is not going to affect the bottom layer. So let's double click and open the smart object. What I'm gonna do is create a new layer. And in this case, just because we need a very rough editing, I want to remove the guy from here. I'm just gonna use the the clone stamp tool here from our toolbar. Make sure that all layers, sample all layers is selected. And I'm gonna give it a little bit of a less hard edges, so a little bit of a smoother brush. Also, because we're working with an image that has quite a lot of perspective, sorry guys, I just clicked in the outside of my canvas. We wanna make sure that when we clone and we use some pixel, we move horizontally so we keep the perspective going. We really don't want to use these tiny waves on front where you can see a bigger ripple or the other way around. So instead of moving from top to bottom, we wanna move horizontally. And let me just show you, I'm gonna press Option in order to select my source here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and click and drag horizontally in order to start copying those pixels to hide our guy here on his canoe. So again, it doesn't have to be a perfect selection, guys. The most important thing is to keep the perspective. So again, make sure that you work horizontally to keep the same size of the wave. And I'm gonna do the same here for his head. I'm gonna show you in a second why I am saying that it doesn't really need to be a perfect selection. You will see in a second that we're not even gonna be able to see fully this pixel. Now, I'm using my mouse, so I've clicked and I really didn't want to paste his head here. All I have to do to go back is click Command Z to undo and undo it again. So we can just grab a better source here. Probably just gonna use the horizon. And I probably wanna zoom in to make sure that we match the horizon line and click and drag to clone the pixel. Again, this doesn't have to be a super perfect job. We're just trying to roughly cover the canoe in this area over here. Make sure to move horizontally. I don't really think that we need to cover all this other side because only a little bit of him was showing on our reflection. In fact, I'm just gonna leave it like that for now and press save by clicking Command S and go back on our original file. As you can see, probably we have to clean up just a tiny little bit, but the majority of the image is there. That's why don't worry too much. It's a smart object. You can also go back and refine it afterwards. So I'm happy with the result for now. So I'm gonna press Command S to save. You can close your smart object, and here we go. You have your image here already that is clean and only with one person on the canoe. So almost look like a waterfall. Now what we want to do is bring back this piece of the paddle that is missing, and we can do so by clicking on the image underneath. If you want, you can even hide the layer on top just to have a little bit of a clear vision of what we're doing here. And I'm just going to use my quick selection tool, which would be super helpful. Here we go. I just grab with one click, we selected the paddle straight away. Super fast. I'm just gonna look at the chat to see if there is any question or yes, yes, exactly, Philippa. We just wanted to use the ocean to make it look like it's on a distorted perspective, almost as if the sea looks like a square or a waterfall. Hi everyone. Hi Nor, hi Lauren, hi Dorina. Welcome everyone. So let's go back and finish this off. We have about 5 minutes. We are on a good timing. Once we have our paddle selected, I've just noticed that I've selected a little bit of the sea here. Can you see these little marching hands? If I want to deselect, all I have to do is go back on my marquee tool, press Option, and you have a little minus in order to subtract that selection. And here we go. So all we need really is the paddle. I'm gonna press Command J to duplicate the layer, so we have another paddle there, and I'm gonna lift it at the very top of my layers and bring back to visibility all the layers. So here we go. So now it looks like our friend is canoeing at the very edge of this waterfall, of this cube ocean. Now, to give a little bit more of an effect, what I want to do is put a little bit of a shining line here, and we can do so with our brush. So I'm going to click on the image, create a new layer, and click on our brush tool. I'm going to pick with a eyedropper tool one of the light color over here, and simply go back to my brush tool, select a normal brush. One of the general brushes, soft round is good. Let's see the size. I definitely want a smaller brush. You can get a smaller brush simply by pressing the left bracket to make it small. And I'm gonna zoom in the image, click at the very top corner here, and then click at the other corner of our square, just to bring in a little bit of edge reflection. And I'm gonna bring the opacity down because we want it just to be like very, very subtle, maybe even less. There we go. Now, another cool thing that I want to show you guys is how to bring in some elements to make it even more surreal. We can do so by keep using the brush tool. You can actually click on this down arrow here where you usually select the size of the brush, and then click on the gear icon and go ahead and scroll down until you see Get More Brushes. Once you click on Get More Brushes here, you have a page opening from the Adobe website, and here you have 1,000 brushes for free. Those brushes are created by Kyle Webster, and they're all available for download directly from the Adobe website. Also, it's worth seeing, I'm gonna use the concept for these artworks. So in the meantime, I'm gonna press download so we can have the brush downloaded here in the meantime. And also what I wanna say to you guys is that those are ABR, so Adobe Brush file, ready to be used in Photoshop and in Sketch on your iPad. It looks like it's taking a little bit of time here, so I can show you something else while the brushes download. Yes, Kyle is the best. Having 1,000 brushes available is very, very cool. I hope I can show you guys. If we do not have time, I'm gonna wait until it downloads, but if we do not have time, all you have to do is keep Photoshop open and double click on the brushes, and they will be loaded automatically on your Photoshop, and you'll be able to find it here in your folder. So let's wait. Hopefully we're gonna have time to actually show you how the brushes look like if our item, yeah, it looks like we'll be able to do so. In the meantime, while the brushes download, I wanna click on filter and start to put the image together a little bit. So before we apply the filter, actually, I'm gonna click on all the layers. So from the top layer, Alt Shift and click at the bottom layer and press Control. And I'm gonna convert all our layers into a smart object so you can edit not distractively. I'm gonna click on Filter and Camera Raw to add a little bit more of light coming too. And I'm gonna use the local editing filter here, the radial filter with the local adjustment. And I'm gonna create a little circle over here. Now mine is already quite yellow and bright, but you guys usually want to go on this panel here and reset the local correction setting in order to add new editing. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna make it warmer, add a bit of exposure. I just really wanna use that focal point as if the sun is opening from the cloud. And I'm gonna bump up a bit of the highlights as well. And then I'm gonna click on the hand here to go back to the global edits. And I'm probably gonna bump up the vibrancy, the clarity here to get a little bit more of the mid-tones and texture to really get the image to be more crispy. And maybe a little bit of contrast as well. So just so you know, clarity is like adding contrast in the mid-tones, so you really have that crispiness with your image. And I'm gonna press OK. So as you can see now, you applied some effect to your image with Camera Raw. We're gonna have a look on another tutorial on this effect. Let's see if our brushes have downloaded. Yes, they're here. So all you have to do is double click. And when you open Photoshop, the brushes will be already loaded here. Here we go. So our concept folder is here. I wanted to show you a really cool one. We've got about 1 minute to go, but I'm sure we can find it here real quick. Here we go. It's called Bird Mix. And if you add a new layer and maybe select black to have a look, the reason why it is not fully showing is probably because we have a brush setting. Here we go, dual brush. You want to untick dual brush. I'm gonna create a new layer and have a look. Here we go. We added some more elements to our photos. Please go and explore these brushes. They are absolutely amazing. You can add so many effects. For example, you can add clouds. I'm gonna add that real quick on another layer so we can really get the feel of a kind of waterfall and create, making my brush bigger with the bracket key, have a real feel of a waterfall, and you can add as many elements as you want. So we are pretty much done for today. This is the way that you can turn your photo in amazing postcard. I really look forward to see what you guys are gonna use with your picture. Don't forget that in your libraries you can find postcard template here. And I'll show you probably tomorrow and on the next stream how to do mockups. So probably gonna use this image. I really look forward to see your work on the Discord. And to probably I'm gonna share my own work as well, the final, because I've not revealed it so far. So stay tuned on Discord so I can show you my work. Let's have a look at the schedule to see who is up after me today. No schedule today, they say from the back. So I'm just gonna say goodbye for now, guys, and I'll catch you next week.